Good afternoon. Hello. Good afternoon.
I'll go ahead and say welcome to everybody and call the meeting to order and do roll call. So Wayne McLean, not here, John not here, Hugh not here, Melissa Miller,
Here.
Ken Johnson,
Here, sir.
and Raymond Jones,
Present.
and Joe Newton. Thank you. The next on the agenda is approval of the minutes from the last meeting. Do I have a
So
motion?
moved. Second.
Second, any discussion? All in favor, say aye. All right, motion passed. Thanks. So I have a few opening comments that I'd just like to share. First of all, home seat,
Amen.
what we
Yes.
serve and what we live for. And thank you all for being here and thank you for the privilege. My first point, as I thought about today's meeting, is this is a great place. You know, it's a great place to live, and we all know that because we've made this our home. But it's also a great place to fly. And just came in talking about Palatka 28J being the hub of North Florida. It's a great place to fly, and it's a great place to live. But we also have great people. And I'd like to just take a minute, thank you again for coming to us. We know we have last manager, and you've done a superb job. And it's such a nice privilege to be able to work with you, what you're doing. And your staff is wonderful. And I don't know if y'all enjoy Richard's emails like I do, but that's a new thing. And we had never had that. So do you get them, Richard Bartholomew? Is that right?
I'm pretty sure I
Yeah.
did. Community.
Yeah, it's just really.
Oh, y'all get them
Emails.
because we have aircraft here.
Yeah, they're our customer.
Oh,
You
I
send
don't know what you're talking
Yeah,
about, so.
we send it out to all our customers, keeping them in loop to what's going on at the airport itself.
so we should add the board members to that. That would be, y'all would enjoy that. And he gives such a, like a 2-3 pager. You know, I mean,
It's going on, we all know that.
yeah, it's not little stuff. So, but great people. and great AAB. So thank you all very much for what we are all able to give together to be part of this growing airport. But we also have great prospects. So I wanted just to touch on that. I don't want to steal you any of your thunder, but you know, when I think about the great prospects we have, you know, the 28J has come a long way. And we've grown into a lot of wonderful, wonderful things. And outlook, I talked to Andrew earlier this morning, and the outlook for funds for the next 2 to 3 years is just fabulous. So, you know, we have a lot of good things.
Good job.
I'm sure we stand up and clap when he comes in.
We can,
Don't create a monster. Don't create a monster.
Monday.
welcome, sir. Good to see you.
Reporting for duty, sir.
Well, we
A little
appreciate
late.
you being here.
Brother John.
Hello, everybody.
Sorry I'm late, as always.
You're right on time, sir. You're just
Where's
right.
our meal?
Well, I think that's Wayne's job today, right? And he's not here, so we'll have to all send him.
You like I assumed that when we moved back here, that was wrong. We know better to make this assumption.
This is gonna be a quick meeting. I'll have it delivered.
So I just went over a couple of points about how great this place is and how great these people are, including you and us.
That's right.
Right. And then I'm on prospects right now. And the field improvements, you know, it brings such a wonderful, nice thing. Thank you. And thank you, FFA, if you're on, I mean, FDOT, if you're on the call. I don't know that. But also Bass Pro. You know, when we think about great prospects, that's still a wonderful prospect. And you will, I guess you're going to give us an update in your report on your communications with them now?
Probably not. I would agree with you. That's a great prospect. I don't think I'm in a position or the timing to make those kind of statements.
That's good.
Yeah.
So it's working its way, and it's a great thing for us. And Embry-Riddle is another great prospect. They're flying more and more, and Daytona's getting more and more crowded. Thank you for, well, your college for what they do. Or in Sellers, you know, and it's a great asset to our little airport.
Busting at the seams.
Yeah, and then he's got Patty Wagstaff on his sleeve, or somehow they're connected a little bit. Customers,
yeah.
you know, which is a great thing for our little tiny airport. So I thought about the song from Anne Murray, you know, and y'all probably don't like to hear all about it. You know, could use a little good news today. And this is some good news. And it's really wonderful to have good news. It's all just wonderful stuff. So I will hush.
Wait a minute, what about Anne Murray?
Well, you know the song that she sings about the good news, you know? Wow.
You can sing it for us, Jay.
Well,
It
I
sounds
got
like she
that.
sings Yellow Bird, I know that.
At the last meeting, I came in late. And I'm marked, not here.
You came in when it was over.
Well, it's not over, maybe talk. If I had to talk at the meeting, then I want to
Have it on, and
I
so
want to have it, so if you make a correction, if that's all right,
yes.
then I did come because y'all made me speak. I did not speak, I was asked to come. You know, just
So
nobody-
some, you
nobody
know,
I know. Anne Murray, I give you one funny story about Anne Murray. I give you one. I'm in an airplane flying to Canada. So I applied somehow the way my daughter was. She couldn't fly. I guess the seats was, I'm in first class. They were, anyway, my wife and everything. I'm sitting up there with this girl and she's got all these things. She says, what are you doing? What are you doing? All these songs, what are you doing? She said, I'm gonna go song. Oh, really? She said, you want to look out there? Look out there. What's your name? Wow, Anne Murray. You know, Anne Murray. She went on.
Who's Anne Murray?
At the time, I didn't know who it
My
was.
word.
And so what happened, this was years ago, she was just going. So we get, I mean, she was, you need to, here's the thing, come do it. I didn't even write it down. So we get up, I mean, I said, you know, Diane, this is girl, this is singing. It was sitting next to me. I said, her name was Anne Marie. She said, Anne Marie, I said, Anne Marie, excuse me. Anyway, she said, listen to this song. I went, oh my God. So I sat next to her, had my one claim to fame, blew it. That's all right.
Yeah, but your wife redeemed you.
She renamed out, and I've always loved her songs since then. She's great.
So just looking up these, I can't see, but a little good news.
I thought you'd at least hum a few bars.
Well, that
She is
was.
good, man, and I can almost
That
as
hurts
much
me.
as I
Bring it up, I'll do it.
I'm sorry, sir. Okay, so,
right.
You would know it if you heard
yeah, you were. Really good news today.
Girl, I shook my head.
You know that song, but I'm Mary Murray.
You know,
No,
that's
right
not
there, but I
playing.
didn't recognize the song. It was one of those things, so.
well, next time I'll bring it.
Okay.
Her voice is like Karen Carter. She's so
I
much
said,
better.
I'm from Palatka. Boy, I got a redneck sitting next to me.
Okay, you'll try to make it over you, sir,
Good thing.
for number 3. Oh, well, no, public comments. Is there any public comments?
No.
Okay, no. So now we'll turn the meeting over to you, sir.
Thanks, sir. Thanks for the kind words. I have thoroughly enjoyed my experience here so far. That's probably because there's a lot of opportunity. Folks don't realize that, but when you sit here on a day-to-day basis and you see the type of aircraft that come in here,
Come in.
you know, you see
Excuse
the,
me.
you see the type of aircraft, you see the customers, GA customers, corporate customers, you know, that says a lot. You know, I think I shared with you guys when I first started that I see things a little bit different. Maybe I've been around the block enough to really recognize some of those indicators. You know, this is not about commercial service. This is about corporate airport. You know, this is clientele that are your storage folks and T hangers to your corporate folks in their corporate hangars because they want to be based out of Palatka. I can see that. I believe with the right resources, have some opportunity here. And certainly with those types of opportunities, you know, they're sensitive. You know, a lot of those folks don't want to be putting it out there and you know, so, you know, again, I've had interest in a lot of folks, and now that we've gotten our lease policy approved by the city leadership, you know, now we have the framework to get there. So, you know, it's a good time. You know, it's also the last month in this fiscal year, so we're trying to wrap this budget up so we can start off with a Ewell McNair and team members budget.
I like that. I do.
Because it's tough to inherit a budget. So, you know, I hope that folks are thoughtful. Hopefully they've seen things over the last 6 months or so that they recognize as legitimate observations that we brought to their attention for us to move forward, at least to come a little bit closer to that. So with that being said, I want to share with you guys the business report for the last couple of months, July and August. Interesting times for us. We are making money, generating revenues. During this period of time, we had a hiccup with our Jet 8 Hero truck, mobile truck, went through a bid process, received the vehicle, and it just was not acceptable. You know, we could not accept that. And I will go and lean towards safety over, you know, the vehicle, just having the vehicle here any day. It had mechanical issues. You know, the PTO was screaming. The vendor, you know, finally shared with us that the manholes on the top were defective. So, you know, we were struggling to really get that fuel quality and quality that we're looking for. So we can't sell anything like that. You know, I think at the end of for the airport folks around here, if you don't have a good field, you know, you in a pretty bad situation. So we did not accept it, even though we waited 8 months to get it, but it was a shame. So we're gonna reconnect and go through the process again. The short term, we're going to work with our fuel provider type and you know, get a lease, you know, 3,000 gallon Jet A lease vehicle that's proven. You know, they're our customer. You know, they've been there for us through this period of time, and I'm telling you, this truck issue has been months and months. So that's behind us. We still haven't known them out there until about the 14th of this month, stating, you know, no mobile Jet A available. We're gonna probably extend that. If we can move on the lease operation, you know, I think the turnaround is about 2 weeks. So the way I look at it is due to the weather patterns, a whole lot of jets, sort of big jets aren't coming in here. We have been getting smaller jets that's self-serving, or we'll go down and service them at the farm. But, you know, so August was tough, you know, because that I stated in here, that's when, you know, we were offline on mobile jet.
So you still have the old truck?
We still have the old truck. Old truck is not operating. It died on the ramp itself. So,
You mean the engine?
But it was the engine, was it not?
it was the engine.
And that's the only real problem with it is the engine.
Why don't we see if we can't get a friend at the airport? It's a diesel engine, as I recall, it can be fixed. What is it, 354?
It's that old 6.0.
Yeah, it's a little bit.
It's a bad
Exactly
record.
what it's 6.0.
Yeah, but
It can be fixed, you have to take the body out, but you can fix it, or you can. Yeah, that would be the easiest thing. It's a fix for it, it's about $3,000 to fix it. You know what? They have to take the cab off of the truck to fix it, because you can't fit all the head bolts. The head bolts have to be changed, and a 6.0 is either the ones that are torn up or the ones that are fixed before. They're terrible. Once you make the upgrade, they'll last forever.
Is this what you and the staff have planned, or?
So
See if we can find somebody. Do you mind if we see if we can find somebody that might do that for us at a very inexpensive cost?
yeah, it's worth a shot, but I'll also suggest that when we have the dollars for a new truck through grants, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that that purchase was a grant,
Yeah.
Okay.
grant source.
Sure.
But that's gonna be about a 3-month turnaround.
Right.
You know, so depending upon if we can use the original procurement process, if we gotta go and do it all over, that's gonna extend it.
But you've got a safety issue now.
Yeah, absolutely. So with the old truck, the idea was to look at, okay, what would it cost to have this as a backup truck? At the end of the day, the old truck is an old truck. It's dated pretty good.
How old is it? We were really proud of that when we first got it. You
Yeah.
remember? That was top
The
shelf.
truck is,
And
it's not true, the truck, is just, it's two pieces, it's the other and the truck. Truck is the front part, it's like a camper that has a, you know, once has a truck and a wheel. So, age on a diesel Ford, I think it is a Ford. Probably a 350 Ford. I'm just saying we can upgrade it if we want to as a backup. Try to find somebody that is friends of the airport that might donate a good portion of it. You're talking a couple thousand, maybe they'll donate 1,000. I'm just saying to you that as a backup, we got the money, let's spend it.
Well, when you use that terminology, it's easier to swallow.
Yeah, I'm not saying, hopefully we're gonna need to.
yeah, well, we certainly have been exploring having multiple trucks. Matter of fact, we've been exploring having an F-gas truck. Because we get that,
You know, have gas 100 low lead?
oh yeah. Oh, yeah.
Can't you put in that same
Oh.
truck? You can put in that
You gotta go through a conversion for that.
filters and what have you.
Yeah, yeah, oh, yeah,
The tank,
oh, yeah.
you can clean the tank, put different filters on it. That's a good idea. too.
There you go.
I tell you what, try to buy the truck that we've got, don't try to sell it. Just try to
Well, there's two things you
It'll
gotta
kill
do.
you if the price is so high.
There's two things you gotta address. You gotta address the safety. You can't ever forget that. And then the convenience of it.
Not that.
I mean, that's what makes us who we are.
Mhm.
And so I agree with everything, you know, I like the idea of a backup truck. But I don't
Maybe
like the
so.
idea of having to wait on something you already need.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a safety issue.
So for me,
Putting up an oversized airplane out there at the fuel farm is a problem.
I don't like.
so for me, the short-term fix for us is the leasing option. You know, and again, we can get there, you know, going through the procurement process, but, you know, it's part of it. You know, we're not the first airport to have these kind of issues, and we've been working through them as a team, as a group, and we'll continue to do that. You know, I think some of the numbers majority of the numbers actually you see here, you're gonna see, we've been hitting it pretty good, you know, but you're gonna also see the true value in having that mobile Jet truck on that ramp out there when these folks show up. Of course.
Even the F-gas, from what
Oh, yeah.
you're saying.
That gas made. It's like two.
Because
Very good.
we have a lot of flight schools
I didn't know that, but it said.
that do not allow their students or instructors to even use the SEPSO.
Because it's a safety issue.
So, anyway. All right, so moving along here. So we're gonna hit July Avgas, July, August, Jet A. And then we're gonna go into the general revenues. And as I stated to you guys before, item number 3, ultimately, we're gonna get to a point of, I want that broken out better than that, because you got fixed revenues here, but you also got revenues that are fluctuating, depending upon how many tie down folks may come in, those kind of things. And I just think there's a better way for us to present that and communicate that to you as we show on the performance of the airport. Then we'll close it out with 4 total, and then we'll go to the airport improvement projects. Avgas in July, year over year. In 31 versus 42. I think what you're gonna see here in each slide of this deck is we sell less, but we make more. And we sell less and make more because we change the fueling prices as we get it from the market. So that's right there is what we want to do, you know, and it's been beneficial over the last several months for us to do that.
That's cool. Now that we're in the opposite, it's just as important, prices are going down.
Yeah.
So we gotta be careful, we don't end up with a lot of gas if we can't make any money on it.
Without a doubt. So
So just what you did over there, you continue.
Yep.
Gotta pay attention, because if we wanna be the least expensive, gas come down a lot. I don't know if it's gonna go back up or go down, but I commend you. We used to never do. You really got to pay attention to what you got, what you're buying, what price you're selling, to keep from getting in trouble. Think you're rich one day and you'll be broke.
Without a doubt. So the key to your point, Mr. Browning, is the monitoring. Monitoring
Yeah.
what's happening in this industry. We get our reports every Monday by noon. You know, so, you know, we look at that and we evaluate if we have to make those kind of adjustments. But we don't make those reductions too quick, because we've also noticed that you let it ride for a week or two, goes back up on the upside. So we are monitoring. August, numbers well, consistent, less field, more, generate more year over year. 4,000 difference. Jet, similar year over year. Jet is really our driver. When we look at price adjustments, we don't really put that on the afgas side. We really probably be a little bit more flexible with the jet side. So that's why for us, corporate folks coming in and out of here, have not pushed back on our prices. So again, if we can continue to be a little bit more customer centric for our tea hanger stores, local pilots and operators, we want to try to do that. So that's why you see some of the differences here. August, that makes a difference. That makes a difference right there. Pardon me?
We have no way to fuse yet. People without going to the,
Correct.
oh, crap, no worries.
Yeah.
They're gonna tax you.
That's what I'm saying. This is something we need to solve fast.
You need them both. I mean, you look at these little planes that come in too. A lot of times, if they've got somebody to pull up there and put the gas in, those pilots like that, they don't want to tax it.
Is there a short-term solution? Do they have short-term rentals on the fuel trucks?
Yeah, we work with our provider currently. Yeah, I actually just received the
Does
document.
he have something here?
No, we're going to get it shipped here.
So we're still waiting.
How long is the lease?
How long is the lease? It's a month-to-month lease. And the truck will be available in about a week or so.
What do they run like in a ballpark?
1,500.
No, because we ran into a similar situation with sanitation trucks when they caught on fire or we had other issues.
We gotta have
Did the short-term
trucks.
lease.
I've seen-
Oh,
You gotta
yeah.
do what you
Just
gotta do.
gas.
keep the operation.
That's right.
And Joe's gonna look at the other.
Back up.
Let's get the gas, get it with gas, have gas. Now, I believe you would really up that.
Might have to get some more help.
I need some help, that's for sure.
But I have, yeah, pulling up the airplane, that's a big deal.
Oh, yeah.
That's a
Oh,
big
they'll
deal.
do it. They'll do it every time. You pull up there and they run out and say, you want me to go? Oh, yeah, go ahead. Do it.
Especially somebody handles themselves professional.
Well, and these little ones are hot. Most of them aren't air conditioned. So they don't like pulling over there that gas pump and all that. A guy pulls up with a thing, they'll go, absolutely, they'll step out, go inside and let you gas. It's a great idea. That'll bring us some money.
I know it would. Talking to the choir here.
Just remember, help. The airport manager needs a lot of help. Team members.
Well, we expect that message all the time, so just keep it up. But
All right.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
So, all right, moving on here. So these are hangar rentals, land, building, tie downs. Those, I made a commitment before to this body here and I will continue. We're gonna get to where we're gonna have to break this down a little bit better. But sometimes people pay 2 months and it's been applied to that same month versus been applied to the previous month. So you're getting this fluctuation going on here. But we have no tenant that's late on paying their bills. 2 tenants that don't exist at the airport anymore, that we're going through the process with city attorney to get the aircraft removed from the facilities. Once I get them out, I can get out people in there to
Behind on their rent.
several
And they're
years.
still using the
Several years.
facility.
No. These or they're down the street.
Well, that-
That
that's a
would be easy.
problem.
They're already out.
There's nobody to beat up on.
Well, that, I'm gonna tell you, I'm glad that you found, it, because there's no way. I've heard nothing about that. I've anybody else said, okay, no way we should leave plane and a hangar with the guy's dead for 3 years before you get around saying, hey, you can't collect. I mean, you can seize the plane, for God's sake, you can sell the plane. You can do a number of things, but if it's no good, you can, I'm glad you're doing it, I commend you. That needs to be resolved.
Yeah,
as
so-
soon as possible.
So the city attorney and I are working close on that. We sent them the last final notice. And I believe they have until September the 12th. Okay, she.
Hello,
Sounds-
good afternoon. Yes, Mr. McNair is correct. They have until September the 12th, and then we will file the
That's
paperwork
probably the
in the
final
court.
date. Because it's gonna probably take longer than that, but that's.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. It's gonna take longer.
If you're in front of the
You're
judge.
gonna have to file paperwork, pleadings in the courts and get it vaulted to the city, and then we'll do the, whatever we have to do, either sell it or chunk it or whatever. I'm not sure of the condition of the aircraft at this point. As Mr. McNair and I work through the process, we'll see what's the best alternative for the city. But they will be removed. And I'm also
Your
working
initial
on,
comments over?
I'm sorry. ma'am?
We couldn't hear you. You were muted when you initially spoke.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, the deadline for the notice, we had to give 15 days notice. It's September 12th. After that point, I will be filing the documents, the pleadings in court to have a default against them for failure to pay rents. And Mr. McNair and I are also working on the shell or plane that's at the end of the runway to get that removed from the city's property also.
Don't you have to then, when all that's done, you've got to go before a judge.
Yes,
Sedation.
yes.
Then the judge may grant it or may give them, normally the judge will give them an
An
extension
extension,
to,
if
if
they
they
ask
don't
for it.
report, they're gonna have to get an extension because if it's a probate or that, the judge will not be able to process. We've
So is
all-
that 2 planes and 2 hangars and 2 deceased people?
One deceased person.
It's one deceased person.
And one is in jail, I think.
Like,
One is incarcerated from what we
Right.
That's
understand.
another way to say that.
Well, see, they, as far as I'm concerned, they can come over and move their airplane,
oh,
they're that close.
Because you're gonna take the plane. It's not gonna have logbooks. Plane unless, these aren't.
We don't wanna take the plane.
We don't want the plane, you're gonna.
No.
Something. But I don't care, it's just gonna take I'm glad you're
We
doing
just
it.
need them to
So
slow
no
away.
rush, it'll take. Just went through one, it took me 18 months from the time I started. All they have to do is say they have COVID, say that COVID had been a bit sick, and not me. They give any excuse, the judge will automatically ground it short. It just seems like it goes on forever. Thank you. You can't get to the end till you get to the beginning.
Remember how long it took Don Holmes to get rid of Banner? Years, 2.5 years. He was in it. Just wouldn't pay.
These things were optional.
I tell you what. I can't believe that it said here. I never heard a thing. Did you, Mayor? Nobody told me.
Not until Mr. McNair.
We've
made
been
us all aware.
told everybody thing. Couple slow, have every month, not that, but everybody.
And see, we can help you on this because the airport community can put some pressure on them.
If we know who they are, we make, not the dead ones, but we. Well, we may know the relative.
Deceased, not dead.
The deceased, if it's appropriate, the attorney can tell us, we should know their name and the airplane because the airport community may very well know them and can make it easier. You're not gonna get your money. Let's just get the plane out of there where we can lease it. And then you go out and find it. Do you agree? Oh, yeah. I know who it is. I know one, his plane was gone, but it might have been.
So the attorneys are gonna say a certain way, but there are ways to, I know, to use your influence to,
You're surrounded.
oh, yeah.
Yep,
And
so,
Don said.
I watched, look, it can be done in 30 minutes.
Well,
I watch it on
the
TV.
attorney's always gonna give you what legally your options are, and that's.
I watch it on TV, they're repoing these planes all the time. And the show is, it was 30 minutes long, they repo 3 or 4 of them in that 30 minutes. We just need to hire them to go get these planes.
Is her name Guido?
They make it look so easy, man, they make it look so funny.
Yes, good.
All right.
but we'll get there. It's, you know, this is a matter of, you know, coming in, you know, trying to figure out what you're working with. It's not the first time I've seen these situations, but, you know, we probably are going to be a little bit closer to the facilities. I think the team we have in place now values the equipment that we have on this airfield. You know, if you look at the value, different aircraft, you add all that up, you know, you come to realize you got to do a lot to make sure that you protect this side over here. I'm not sure if you guys heard the story about the guy stealing the King Air over in Mississippi, and you know he was gonna crash into the wall. You know, it just you know we live in different times,
Yeah.
and you know we need to make sure that our customers behind that fence, you know, are in a safe environment, protected, and we need to know who's
Safety is the
here.
most important thing.
I thought about that same
Who's-
thing when I
who-
saw that
who's
in the
here?
news, because
What-
that's the
what-
second
what did
one. Where a gentleman walked in a smaller airport and stole a plane
Yeah.
and flew in the air like 4 or 5 hours, threatening to crash it into
I
Walmart.
saw that when he landed though.
And he landed
Now, that's
in
an
a field.
aberration now. That's
I
not,
couldn't believe he
that's an
landed
aberration.
and it didn't tear it up.
Well, he had like 7 hours of
Oh, he did.
flying school or flying something.
I just
Well,
more
that's the
chance.
second one in like
More
6
chance of
months.
stealing
Stolen up
airplanes
to
ever
damage.
been.
So we have to just be a little bit more sensitive. You know, in the budget, you know, there's things that I want to do here. You know, to make sure that we know what we're working with.
Question, what do the people that's next on the waiting list think about what's going on? Or do they know?
In terms of,
They want a hangar.
so we don't publicize the abandoned hangars. Obviously, we publicize the 6 units coming online that Matt is, you know, overseeing on the project, and you know, folks, the next people up or the next people that's gonna be in line. Those two can be added into that pool. You know, people want hangars. It's 90 people roughly on the list.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
If they get wind that we're not getting rid of somebody who's not doing their due diligence.
Every 200.
Well, that just looks bad on us though, you know, how did this go on for so long? So I wouldn't be thinking we should publicize that.
Right, yeah.
Right,
I
yeah.
would,
Agreement with that.
I wouldn't.
I think the change in leadership has been a critical piece to really closing some gaps that existed, even from an operations standpoint, from a management standpoint. You know, I think, you know, Don did well while he was here, but I think there are differences in skill sets. That's not a slight on anybody, but the difference between Mr. Here and Mr. Yule from a management standpoint is quite obvious. And what it does is it allows us during the time in which we're starting to see more growth and more activity at the airport to be able to manage more people, to be able to carry out a larger vision just based upon the special set of tools that he has within his toolbox, which in more of a hand towards revenue production. And I think those pieces of the puzzle at the end of the day are going to help us out long term. And the real big piece of this puzzle is for the commission to see the need to start to expand operation here and, you know, get away from the concept of a mom and pop small airport from that standpoint, and staff this thing so that as the activities increase, the airport in itself starts to have all the all the staffing in place so that it can function in a better way, and also whatever other needs that are there. So one of the things we've been talking about is getting that list of needs that exist immediately and having those addressed before the beginning of the next fiscal year and the end of this fiscal year, so that we can at least start to deal with some of those things. Really the big piece of the puzzle, and then look at those future opportunities that are existing right now for expansion and for growth in private operation.
Well, as a body, we would stipulate to everything that you said and listen with a hearty amen. But fuel truck situation and 2 hangars that have been abandoned, those are serious.
Oh, no doubt.
Yeah,
Those are serious. It needs a quick term, a short term answer.
it would seem to me that a hangar that's empty, that you should be able to get a ruling by the city that we're going to use that hangar till they do something. I mean, if the hangar is empty, they're not paying, they haven't been here, they've abandoned it.
There's an airplane in it. It's not empty.
No, we got one, they said was empty.
No, 2 hangars, 2 aircraft.
And the aircraft's in the hangar.
I'm sorry.
No difference in the
I guess
They
there's
gotta be
nothing
very-
in
they gotta
the
be
lease
very
that says
careful how
if you
they handle
don't pay after X months,
No,
we pull your
I didn't-
plane out.
I'm sorry.
Should there be?
misunderstood. I said it was empty, put something in it.
In a lot of airport leases, you have those clauses.
I
It
should
doesn't
think
tie
we need
your
to look
hand.
at that.
So updating our storage lease moving forward
Yeah.
is a great opportunity to
I
avoid
agree with that.
some of these things. So,
Or do we know what kind of planes are in it?
Tri-Pacer and the Mooney,
What now?
Tri-Pacer and the Mooney. Tri-Pacer is falling apart, Mooney is covered.
I don't have a problem.
But, Tri-Pacer, rumor goes that it's missing parts. anyway.
Parts plane. Probably a parts plane.
Yeah. So rumor goes, don't bother with this, missing parts. So, but yeah, we certainly want to figure out how to avoid going down this road in the future. Because, you deal with this amount of customers, it's bound to happen. So we just need to kind of figure out how do we protect ourselves from tying our hands.
I know we've talked before. I was out for 200, one time it was 300 people away. And then a guy comes into the airport, somebody got a hanger. It's happened several times, not since you've been here. So the list seemed to be a fuzzy list. I think we ought to. A guy's been on that list for 3 years. He's got a place for his plane, or he's already changed planes. We need to contact the people and see, are they still, how many of them?
That's what he said he was doing.
We do that. Yeah.
That's the airport manager's responsibility,
Yeah.
not ours.
Good. No, I'm just,
Yeah, we
you contact the 90 and they still.
Oh, yeah.
Too much
Yeah, we-
politics.
Right. That's
we
why it's 90
really
instead of
try to
200.
stay on it, because
It's a hand bill.
Well, I'd really like to encourage us to look at a clause to put in future leases where if you don't pay in 6 months or whatever, then we have the right to pull your plane out.
I thought of something the other day. I just not trying to take a lot of time here, but these things that you put in motion for people to come here to have a business, like in a one of these outfits, where you move a business in. What do you call those kind of what incubator situation like that? We need to have something that if something like that should happen, that the airport could address that if they had aircraft that they needed a place for their aircraft now. If you had a situation where a company was coming in here and they had a piece of aircraft that we could move them because it's the city incubator is where the problem is. And if they have an aircraft, they're gonna need a place to put it.
There's no, every hangar is full.
Obviously, there would be no problem. There would be no,
I knew there was one, a bigger one, we were having trouble with.
but I just thought of that. So we need to think about that in the future.
Yeah.
If somebody, and that would be part of the package.
So if I may, since we have 15 minutes.
Yeah, I'm gonna say, we're getting down to.
Yeah, but we want to have, spend a little time on the incident.
That's right.
Okay,
And we still got a little recent policy and review.
we do. So current project that, my partners, Sarah is working on, they've been on it the last several weeks, I believe.
They mobilized the site, I think it was like towards the end of July, so yeah, a little over a month.
Building metal showed up today.
Yeah, I've started getting delivered today,
So,
the metal building.
And I believe the completion time is January.
That's correct, yeah, we're looking at January now, got pushed back just.
So we got some activity over there. It's a 6-unit facility. The end units are about 2,000 square feet. The inner floor is about 13,300 or something. It's nice facilities, and I guess it's running east to west. And on each side have the kind of apron support infrastructure. So that's a good site. Now, it would be another good site if that was a corporate hangar. But we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there.
So, man, I've had the privilege of watching every day. It sure is amazing. And y'all sure are outbeating the little crew, whoever in charge of that road improvement. out there. They can't get their ducks in a row, but you're doing a great job.
Yeah, they're making progress.
Yeah, it's very fast.
I think it'd be kind of cool if we could get that picture, little publicity for the airport. 6 new
Well, if you
King
send it to
hangers
me, I'll
on the
put it
way,
on
Palatka
Facebook.
on Facebook, and then we could do it on the chamber where businesses are actually people. But better with the commissioners out there with shovels helping.
No, it'd be good when we have something in the newspaper that we're not bragging, so to speak, spending money. But some people look at the airport different, the way that we do. And if we could talk about the economic benefits of the area because this is happening.
We have shovels, all this out there. Mayor,
Does that make any sense?
that always looks good, they'll print that. Like that.
I just think we've realized so much that people aren't aware of the airport here. Every time we have a flying in, people are constantly saying, I never knew there was an airport. It's just some real positive promotional news, and I don't think it just needs a picture and new construction underway. 6 new, blah, blah, blah. Just a
I know
thought,
some old people, I'm always been in the airport, always.
really. Airports and golf courses, we need them.
Airport,
Points.
golf course, bike trail, I mean, I can just name it, I'll tell you.
On the road today.
Uh,
Keep on the road today.
All right, so update.
Yeah.
Leasing policy. And it's short and sweet, the leadership approved it August 25th meeting. 24th meeting. So as I stated earlier, now we have the guidelines and framework. So whenever we go down the road of coming back to this body with, hey, this is an opportunity, you're gonna know exactly what went into getting it to this point. So we can ultimately go to the point of going for the commissioners. The position is making sure that the city is protected throughout this process. A lot of times folks can go and negotiate hangar development deals and it's just not in the best interest. So, we're excited about that. Also, part of that is we developed, kind of formalized the hangar leasing and waiting list policy. So we do our due diligence on one that lists, folks on there from 2017, 2018. I guarantee you they're not calling here saying, where are you? Matter of fact, a lot of them, that when we started going through, they were like, I've moved on, but it's about 90 as we see it today. But if someone decides, that they're not ready, you know, there's protocols to that also. You know, some people may be still in the process of getting the aircraft. They may want to say, hey, you know, hey, I'll give my spot to the next guy coming up, but I don't want to lose my spot. You know, so it's formalizing the process. It was so unclear how you got there. You express interest, availability come open, you should be able to see how did you get there and what's going into making sure that the process is solid. Big deal for me, you know, for the airport manager, I want to make sure that you guys understand what's he working from, you know, what's the basis of this. And moving to item C, Chair, you want me to kick it off or? Sure. So kind of part of airport compliance, you know, management, you know, things happen at airports. You know, in this case, we have, I don't have any pictures, probably shouldn't show any pictures because it's probably still being investigated and I don't want to, you know, take the process. But we had a tenant that apparently had an RV home site set up on the airport and it was wired up to several RVs and the VL caught fire. Damaged a portion of our facility, totally destroyed about 3 RVs, if not 2 or 3 more. Hot fire, could have been worse. There was somebody living there. From the standpoint of fatality, obviously, I believe we dodged a bullet on that. But that's a serious red flag for me. I'll share with you when we had the military operation here, and we actually closed the airport from 9 p.m. until 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning. I was out here because I wanted to be out here for the entire operation, not just to make sure the military was taken care of, but also wanted to kind of get an idea of what happens at the airport, the old flag airport at 1 o'clock in the morning. And this is a busy place. That's probably the best way I can put this. You know, so I shared it with you. We got to do a better job. We got to do a better job. We had people on bicycles riding on the ramp like they was at the state park, you know, while the airport was closed. Okay. So we got this military operation. Unfortunately, the military got involved because they're like, nah, you guys need to. So the tenants kind of get a little, I guess, loose with that. But this fire spooked me a little bit, you know, and I don't have the history here. I can only go by my observation. And that's a great place for me to be. And this is just where I am. That should not have happened, you know, so Chair, you can.
Well, in our pre-meeting discussions, y'all know Skydive has been here a long time, and I personally like them, but they have been allowed, from my perspective, to get by with a lot of things. And I knew this day was coming, not the fire, but I knew the day was coming when we had to do something different and just let everything be as it's been. And this fire surely has turned that. And I think it's so important that now we set up the new guidelines that every tenant submits to, and best interest or not, it is in our best interest to no longer allow.
And what kind of activity you're talking about?
Camping out,
You
I guess I'm
mean an RV,
confused.
you mean an RV?
RVs camping out.
All right, and you're talking about tent camping, RV camping?
Well, because any
hangar?
unauthorized camping. You
I'm
know,
so lost. I need
so there's a
clarity.
fire down here.
Well,
I
that's
So
understand there's a
They're trying-
fire, but I thought it was in a
they're
hangar.
They're trying to give us some clarity.
Here's the same thing.
Okay,
Let him finish.
so yes, we had a fire at 2 in the morning and 3 RVs burned down at Skydive Palatka. And they're all wired illegally, they're hooked up illegally, they're here illegally, nothing really it's been going on for years, and this is a reason to stop it. So I mean, I guess it's best to say we put on notice now that no allow that kind of activity.
So they've been a long time?
Long time, like 20 or 30 years. I mean, they've got by with, I mean, if you look at Facebook, you'll see that.
How long?
Well, I think 20, 30 years.
25, 30 years.
Yeah, it's been a
Well,
while.
that's something I have-
We moved my hand.
I just want to hear, what is this going to do? You as a manager, what would you like to see? You already said you're nervous about it, so what would you like to see?
Well, I have no problem with skydive activity. Matter of fact, when they come in and they're bringing the plane in from D-land, they're using our field, so that's great, that's fine. But it becomes a challenge when it start conflicting with my aircraft operators over here that are my tenants trying to get in and out, and there's all these conflicts.
So what would you like to see?
I would like to see less RVs on this airport. This airport at nighttime, it's untowered airport. This is not the greatest party in Putnam County, as I was told by people coming in and out here. So,
We have a safety issue.
And how do they come in and out? The gates are open?
they
or
open
they-
gates.
Let me, if I could. Something else while we're doing it. It's been an issue for a long time. Skydivers need to follow the same rules that all the citizens. If you fly here a lot now, it's dangerous because they don't say, they'll fly in backwards. We're using one way, they'll come in the other, they don't say a word, they just fly in here. A lot of time, I mean, it's Wild West. It's a Wild West, and it's been let go. Now, I complained to John immensely with the problems of where they drop those parachuters. I mean, if you want this airport to grow, not just let them run wild. They have left, the reason they're here, look it up, is because they were thrown out of others. Because a regular airport won't put up, but with so much of that, you just can't. I mean, you can go skydiving anywhere you want to go. You'll go to a field that has a little field, you just go out there, switch up, you go, you hardly check the plane. They do whatever. I mean, it's just the nature of, if they don't follow the rules, everybody else follows.
Well,
What
that's
would you,
city-owned
what would you as the
property,
mayor
right?
like to see from us on
I
this?
think they should follow, all I'm saying is they should follow the rules, the FAA rules and the.
And we're talking about a lot of territory.
I think the
No,
city of
it's
not
Palatka certainly has a
terrible.
large
They know what it is.
exposure
Not
with
really, they
liability.
know what
I
it is,
mean,
come on.
if it's city
Hey.
property.
Wouldn't take much.
He needs to know what he can go tell them and we back him up.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, is we follow the rules, FAA rules and the rules of the airport, that's all.
Are the rules already intact or we need to make some more?
We know what we need to do.
They have landing zone, it's clear where they're supposed to operate from. I didn't mean to cut you off.
I'm sure you've already addressed a lot of this. with
So everyone have the agreements here. You have your landing zone. Obviously, you're gonna need a landing zone for skydiving. And this is a little over an acre or so. So that's where you're supposed to be dropping. You shouldn't be dropping over here between 9 and 17. You should.
Yeah,
you shouldn't be-
they're dropping out here and then flying in on the parachutes.
But I think the opportunity exists with the airport manager for us to do something. It sounds like it hasn't been done in a long time. And that's to give everybody the rules again, to an orientation. It needs, Mr. McNair's gonna need help with, from a security standpoint, identifying checkpoints, closing this airport off so that he doesn't have to deal with some of the issues that are lingered based upon whatever circumstances existed previously. So in order to give a fresh start and to have compliance, an absolute standpoint, for everybody who's attended this airport, the rules. Let's contact them all and make sure they understand the rules and the consequences that go along with not following the rules. That way, no one can have them sign for it. That way, nobody can say they don't know what the rules are. And once the rules have been given and compliance is not in place, then we have mechanisms in place to make sure that those people are no longer tenancy. And I think that's the easiest thing to do, because what I'm hearing is there's been a lot of turning a blind eye historically to certain things that people know are dangerous. And I think that there's going to be a cleanup duty on a lot of this stuff. I'm hearing that
Mr. Mayor?
some of the stuff, and I think the council, yes, ma'am.
Sir, sorry to interrupt you, but the Skydive, Palatka, I think it's the name of the organization, they have a commercial lease. There is no provision for them to have RVs, to have any kind of residential, whether it's long-term, short-term, overnight. And I think that we are putting the city in a grave danger by having them there. They have had connection of electrical, from what I understand from Mr. McNair, among the RVs. There are sufficient number of RV parks in the city of Palatka for them to have access and have proximity to the airport whenever they want to have their events. So I agree with you totally that they have to be advised of what their obligations and responsibilities are. And if they cannot adhere to them, then we have a mechanism for them to be terminated as tenants.
Give them a notice, or give them a
Any other
7-day notice
organization.
for non-compliance, for breach of lease conditions, and they've got a 7-day cure. And if
Yes,
it's not cured within that period of time, it gives you the ability to go ahead and evict.
Right.
Let's say one.
Okay, we're out of time, but go fast.
Okay, I think you ought to take the skydive and handle that separate than trying to send a notice to everybody, because we'll all talk. So if you do that, you got a problem. Take the one major problem and solve it. I've never understood why they got a commercial, have a way where they fish, where they can't just get in and out of here. We solve their problem. The rest of the things on the airport say that.
I agree.
We don't have 24-hour security here, I'm assuming, since you came to see what happened. I think that's almost as critical in these times as the other two major issues with the fuel truck. And it's something we need to address while you're looking at your budget. How do we afford that? And how do we get that? Somebody was here 24/7, some of that nonsense wouldn't be going on.
So quickly, what we are trying to do here is approach it from the standpoint of working with our sister department, with our police officers, putting cars out here, so there's a presence, secondly, access control and CCTV programs. That is probably the best opportunity. Now, I will share with you, the city comes through, city police officers come through on their routes. When I was out here during that time, I saw them coming out here. So, it was helpful to see, but it was more interesting to kind of see, again, midnight, 1 o'clock, folks coming in there and tenant over there, any access or give them access, or, setting up the gate to where it stays open. So, again, if that is existing, we can put some things in place where it's the 24/7 monitoring. And you kind of go through who really have access here. That's another initiative that I need to.
Well, I think that we need to thank the good Lord, we have the RV fire, so we can address all this, because I'm gonna tell you something. Having skydiving and all that kind of stuff, and they have huge risk anyway. And something we need to get on top of this.
Make them do, they know what to do.
They know what to do, they just need to be reminded.
They know what to do.
They
They
know
know how
how
to
to
call
call
it. They know you don't go down
Exactly.
the runway backwards, but they do it all the time. It's dangerous. I went to John, I had the guy flying Pierce and all, and he was complaining. I'm going, well, we do a lot of business. I said, a lot of
Mind
business.
blowing.
When you,
I never knew that.
It's a safety issue.
I think the safety issues should come first. The rest of the issues in this airport, all these other hangers and all, there's a lot of them, but They're small.
Yeah.
So we're gonna obviously need to talk about this again, because it's not gonna go away.
Good luck, you got.
I got my hands.
I had no idea. But
So we do need to address one other thing. Ms. Thomas, are you still on?
Yes, sir.
We need to figure out, because the owner operator, like, your contact information to reach out to you personally for, I guess, to set up the time for coming to the next meeting. I didn't think that was necessary for me to do, so I reached out to the city attorney and said, hey, is this a public records? I don't want to give out folks private information to this tenant, so I guess while we're here, we may need to figure out.
Why didn't they just come to the meeting and talk?
He can contact me, I don't mind.
We publish it, we can publish and have a list of people. Just
we're a matter
publish, we have
of
a
public
meeting. We're
record
a public-
anyway.
So,
We're
okay.
a
Just-
advisory board, we're
This
not
is
a
a public
decision.
meeting.
They do
Just-
a public meeting, and put it in the papers, there's ways to do it.
Oh, they need to talk to us all at one time. So they should-
Yeah, they can't talk to us individually because of the sunshine.
Y'all start giving them
He said-
emails,
he said-
that they're gonna forward everybody and reply to all, and we'll all be breaking sunshine.
A public-
Okay, hey, excuse me for 1 second. Okay, what I have done is to inquire whether we can get a city email address for the advisory board. The chair will have access to that, and that's the way that we can communicate. But I'm awaiting a decision for that, and so that's my suggestion.
I think that anytime that we're used or put the information is put out, they need to understand that we are a strict, all we do is advise the city commission.
Could we not have a list? of
But
all
it
these
still would be a public record, and so that's why that's why my suggestion is to get a city email address.
Very good, thank you.
We could get a list given to the people here at the airport. So if somebody asks when's the meeting, they would know where the meetings are.
I do want to go on records, and I appreciate you being sensitive. As the new airport manager, I can see, and I feel your pain. We want to help you.
I appreciate
We
that.
like you doing, the skydive has needed some pullback for a long time. We like them, but they
There's something wrong with somebody that jumped out of a perfectly good airplane anyway.
run down
I
there,
agree.
run down the runway backwards because they're in a hurry to get there, kill someone.
And while we went over like 10 minutes, sorry, but thank you. We had a great discussion, and maybe we can talk more next time. And we also need to think about the inflationary effect upon the airport and possibly some need for rates. And I know that's never a popular topic, but we need to think about it. Everything's gone up. Electricity's gone up. So, I think that needs to be in the future, and then a fly-in update too, maybe for next time, that we can have a little update on what's happening and what we're thinking about that. And then there's one other thing too that we can all be thinking about, and Ken came in talking about, how important it is to be able to fly and eat. And of course, for 20, talking about a restaurant on site, and never got one. And maybe we could do a food truck Saturday, at 28J. And pilots love to fly, and they love to have a reason. And who was just here? Go have breakfast. So, we can, they like to do that. And so if we had a published, second Saturday of every month, food truck fly-in.
Or once a quarter.
Once a quarter, something like that. And a lot of different. So we can think about those things next time. Is there any other comments before we leave? And thank you all very much for all the input. All right, we can stand adjourned. Thank you.
And listen, we need to use our influence on individually. We got to get this bicycle trail finished between water management and over there on 17.
I like
Because
that.
I'm getting tired of phone calls. We're the mean one because we don't have a finished trail through Palatka.
That's right.
The bicycle trail does not go
Management is
between
very
water
time
management and over
consuming.
there on 17.
Eddie can do it.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's
You're
some,
already doing it. So they can just move the.
that's what I was gonna suggest is that